Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight for 23 ABC News at 5. I'm Keely Van Middendorp. Tonight's top stories.
Changing the outlook, more on a local group's effort to help foster youth not only graduate but also find success at college and beyond.
Today is World Blood Donor Day. We have more about the importance of donating blood amid the ongoing shortage coming up.
And our temperatures started to climb here in Kern County. That continues for the next couple of days. 23 ABC News at 5 starts now.
Live from Kern County's streaming news leader, this is 23 ABC News at 5, and it starts now.
Good evening. A local organization that supports foster youth just celebrated 10 of their kids graduating from high school. This as the odds are often stacked against this group. Statistics from the California Department of Education show only about 58% of kids who grow up in foster care here in Kern County will walk across that stage. But that's not all. Once school is over, they are faced with even more obstacles. 23 ABC's Vanya Patino spoke with a group looking to change the stats. Vanya.
That's right, Keely. We have almost 2,000 kids in foster care in Kern County. Now, these are kids who have trauma from being separated from their biological parents and who maybe don't have the constant attention of an adult. And all of that is reflected in their educational performance. Now, I want to break down some of these statistics from the California Education Department. This is for the 2020-2021 school year. We're looking at the percentage of students who have been chronically absent. And as you can see, they almost double it for foster youth. It was about 34% as compared to non-foster youth, which was 14%. Now, looking at the suspension rates, which also plays an impact in their education, it is low for both groups, with non-foster youth at 0.2% and foster youth at 1.2%. But as you can see, there is a big difference. And now looking at the graduation rate, which is, Keely, what you were talking about earlier, across the state, non-foster youth graduate at about 83.9%, but foster youth at about 55%. But Kern County is at 58%, which is a little bit better, and there is progress, and there are people that are trying to change these numbers right now.
The amount of courage required to explain their story to teachers year after year, to make new friends in new high schools. There's just so many challenges that they've overcome.
Aside from already carrying trauma from being separated from their bio parents, Kristen Sabalka with Bakersfield Angels explains, on average, a foster youth will move homes 7 times.
Each time they move, they fall behind 6 months behind from an educational standpoint, which makes sense because it's new schools, new teachers where you're not known, new set of parents, siblings in the home, all of those things. And so as they shift all the time, they're falling behind.
It is those statistics they are trying to change.
And so a huge goal of our programs is placement stability. So if we can keep kiddos in the same home and we can support that family that has said yes to fostering so that they can say yes one more day to that placement, that's the ultimate goal, is that these kiddos can grow up in stable homes and stay in the same schools and graduate on time and go on to do big things.
She says staying in one home allows them to create long-lasting relationships with teachers and friends and allows them to participate in sports or after-school activities when they would not otherwise. In the meantime, they pair up a foster child with a community member.
When they have a mentor, that's one of their goals, is that when these kiddos graduate in our programs, that they either sign up to go to college, to a branch of the military, or to a trade school.
And it's paying off. This year, 10 teens in the program graduated and celebrated their resilience.
Because we believe with all of our hearts that these kids who are teenagers need long-term mentors who can say, I want to see you walk across that high school graduation stage, and I will be the person sitting in the crowd cheering you on.
And there are so many more kids on their wait list who want to get paired with a mentor. If you would like to volunteer, all that information will be linked on our website, turn223.com. And coming up at 6, we'll have more on the resources available locally to all past and current foster youth and how the community can also help to transition them into adulthood. In studio, Vanya Patino, 23 ABC News, connecting you.
Thank you, Vanya. And the Bakersfield Police Department needs your help in locating a missing runaway teen tonight. 17-year-old Sherry Ann Wolf was last seen yesterday at about 2 p.m. near Sierra Meadows Drive and Wyville Road in southwest Bakersfield. Wolf is considered at risk due to a medical condition and no prior history of running away. She is described as being 5 foot 1 inch tall, weighing 155 pounds. Anyone with information on her whereabouts is asked to call BPD at 661-327-7111. And now to a look at the latest round of January 6th committee hearings. Following last Thursday night's primetime hearing, the committee continues their efforts to place former President Donald Trump at the center of events around the insurrection. Newsy's Nathaniel Reed has the recap this evening.
In detailed testimony to the committee investigating the January 6th attack, members of Donald Trump's inner circle said in the days after the 2020 election, they repeatedly told him his claims of widespread voter fraud were baseless. But the now former president continued making them.
I was somewhat demoralized because I thought, boy, if he really believes this stuff, he has, lost contact with he's become detached from reality.
Depositions played publicly for the first time Monday gave stunning new details about what went on at the White House on election night 2020. The president's closest advisors telling the committee they urged caution as the numbers came in, but Trump instead took advice from his personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani.
There were suggestions by, I believe it was Mayor Giuliani, to go and declare victory and say that we'd won it outright.
It was far too early to be making any calls like that. Ballots were still being counted. Ballots were still going to be counted for days. And it was far too early to be making any proclamation like that.
Trump insisted he won, and Giuliani and attorney Sidney Powell continued to push claims of widespread election fraud.
What they were proposing, I thought was nuts. And the theory was also completely nuts. Right? I mean, it was a combination of Italians, Germans. I mean, different things have been floating around as to who was involved.
Trump's former campaign manager said two different groups were advising the president.
We called them kind of my team and Rudy's team. I didn't mind being characterized as being part of Team Normal, as reporters, kind of started to do around that point in time.
The committee says Trump pushed his false claims as a fundraising tool, bringing in $250 million.
Throughout the committee's investigation, we found evidence that the Trump campaign and its surrogates misled donors as to where their funds would go and what they would be used for. So not only was there the big lie, there was the big ripoff.
A fraudulent fundraising effort could be grounds for a criminal referral to the Department of Justice.
And new developments tonight. The suspect who shot a CHP officer during a traffic stop in Studio City has been taken into custody. Officials say the 33-year-old man was found in Van Nuys after a police canine tracked him down. Investigators say the unidentified officer tried to pull over a car around 8 o'clock, but the suspect refused to stop, eventually pulling into a parking lot when that shooting took place. The officer was taken to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, where he's listed in critical but stable condition in the ICU.
I'd say like about 5 to 10 minutes later we heard gunshots.
About 4 or 5 gunshots.
And then I think about 2 or 3 other cop cars came to the scene, so we just walked over a little closer to get a better view, and then about 20 more cop cars pulled in.
And immediately they started running out of the cars. There was a cop car that hit another cop car backing up. It was pretty chaotic.
A car matching the suspect vehicle description was found near an apartment complex. Officials say a police bloodhound was able to track the suspect to a tent in Van Nuys, where he was inside with several other people. There's no indication as to why the man shot the officer. And switching gears now for a live look at downtown Bakersfield. Another cooler day on tap for many communities here in Kern. But the real question here, Brandon, is will this trend continue? Of course, we're all crossing our fingers that it does after the week that we had last week.
Yeah, and the answer in the short term is a resounding no. That is not going to be the case here. In fact, we are on a warming trend already here across not only Kern County, but the state of California stayed below 90 today. Again, that's not bad. That is cooler than average for this time of year, but it's warmer than yesterday. You look over in the desert, places like Palm Springs up to about 106. So we have some triple digits. We have some excessive heat in the southwest, but really across the state of California, across the country here, what we're seeing, the heat is over to the east of the Mississippi. We're dealing with a massive heat wave for many communities there, many states, almost entire states under excessive heat warnings. So the heat is to our east for now, but it's coming back to Kern County very soon. The next couple of days in Bakersfield, close to, but I think just below 100. But then we get another really nice cool down heading our way, and we'll time that all out for you in more detail coming up later in the show.
Thanks, Brandon. Turning now to the latest on COVID-19 vaccines, a committee of advisors at the Food and Drug Administration has voted unanimously in favor of authorizing the Moderna vaccine for kids ages 6 through 17. This, in turn, paving the way to add one more vaccine to the options available for this age group. Currently, only Pfizer's vaccine is available for kids over 5 years old. Moderna's vaccine, which was stalled in the regulatory process for months, would give parents another option. The process to get Moderna's vaccine out to pharmacies and clinics now moves to the FDA's leadership, which must decide whether to issue an official emergency use authorization of the vaccine. After that, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's team of advisors will review Moderna's data, and finally, CDC Director Rochelle Walensky will issue her recommendation. And if you need a vaccine or booster, the Boys and Girls Club of Kern County is still hosting free vaccine clinics for ages 5 and up in Bakersfield and Lamont. Those clinics are in collaboration with the Bakersfield College Student Health and Wellness Center and Kern County Public Health. Today's clinic is being held at the Lamont Club on 8301 Segru Road. It goes until 7 o'clock tonight. And Houchin Community Blood Bank's message to the public is when you give, people live. But right now, officials say their inventory at the Bolt House location in southwest Bakersfield is at the lowest it's ever been. 23 ABC's Brianna Willis explains why donating blood is especially important amid this ongoing shortage.
World Blood Donor Day is a day to honor blood donors. But Houchin Community Blood Bank says it's also a time for new donors to be a part of the ongoing need for blood. According to the American Red Cross, every 2 seconds, someone in the United States is in need of blood. From trauma to cancer to blood disorder patients and people involved in accidents, blood transfusions are needed every day. Rachel Parlier, marketing manager with Houchin, says she believes residents need to learn about why the small act of donating makes a big difference.
Creating education and just awareness of the blood shortage that is going on. We do have two donor centers. We do have mobiles as well, and then we will be opening a new location in East Bakersfield. We're hoping to open the doors in July, and so just bringing awareness on the need for blood donations right now, and it's important every single day.
Parlier also says that while all blood types are needed, O positive and O negative are the most common and can save up to 3 lives. Right now, only 3% of the population donates blood each year. But worldwide, more than 120 million units of blood are needed during the year. If you want to donate blood, we have the link to schedule an appointment on our website, turnto23.com. In Bakersfield, Brianna Willis, 23 ABC News, connecting you.
And a massive retirement ceremony held today to mark the 245th anniversary of Old Glory.
We held as the twilight's last gleaming.
Green Lawn Southwest honored National Flag Day by hosting an official flag retirement. Officials say this year more than 2,000 flags will be retired. This happens if a flag is torn, tattered, faded, or is beyond repair. The official ceremony took place today, and the Young Marines begin with a special flag folding event followed by a gun salute and taps. The flags are then marched to the crematory by local branches of the military. Today also marked the 245th birthday of the U.S. Army. And coming up next, tagging at Yosemite. National Park officials are searching for those responsible for leaving their mark and anyone who may have witnessed it. Details next. Brandon.
And we're not too bad here this evening, but warmer weather coming back very soon. We'll have your forecast after the break.
And welcome back. Park officials are searching for witnesses that may have seen vandals spraying graffiti in areas inside Yosemite National Park. Park officials said in a social media post, vandals covered boulders and other parts of the Yosemite Falls Trail with spray paint. The paint spread over 30 parts of the park with words and phrases, including one instance where a boulder was tagged with the word Fresno. Though park rangers say they have identified some suspects, they're still asking for any witnesses to come forward by calling or submitting an anonymous tip online. And meanwhile, at Yellowstone National Park, the northern section was hit especially hard, and visitors in that part of the park were evacuated Monday. Crews are starting to assess the damage, but preliminary reports show numerous roadways are washed out or even blanketed with mud and rocks. Multiple bridges may also be affected by the storms, and the flooding is expected to only get worse before it gets better as more rainfall is predicted in that area over the next few days. And here at home, though, a much different situation than in Yellowstone National Park. We're still dealing with that dry heat, though it hasn't been as intense this past few days. Brandon Michaels joining us with more now. And Brandon, you've been telling us, or I should say warning us, about this warm-up.
Yeah, it's coming back. That dry heat is definitely back in the forecast as soon as tomorrow. So enjoy this weather for now. We will get back to cooler weather, but through the evening, we are still very comfortable, dropping back to the 70s pretty shortly after sunset here. So a nice night for us. But again, that warm weather back at the forecast. We're tracking a couple different things. Hot air mass off the coast. And you see this kind of ridge right here. That is a warmer air mass. That's what's going to be moving on shore. So the hottest of the air not approaching, but that warm air mass, that ridge moving on shore, is going to send our temperatures up over the next 24 to 48 hours. And we'll see that here if we look at the forecast across Kern County for tomorrow. 97 degrees, your high temperature in Bakersfield. That's the good news. Earlier in the week and even last week, it looks like we could get into the triple digits. I don't think that's going to be the case for us here in the Valley tomorrow or even on Thursday. Eastern Kern, different story. A little bit better chance to see some triple-digit highs there, especially for the Indian Wells Valley, going 100 for China Lake and Ridgecrest, 80s and 90s through our mountain communities for tomorrow. With the warmer air, with the ridge building in, we're going to see our winds dialing back as well. We had winds gusting over 70 miles per hour in Eastern Kern yesterday. Tomorrow's wind gust forecast, nowhere near that. Just barely a breeze out there. The strongest winds will actually be through our mountains, and those are not going to be too bad. So with the warmer temperatures and the lack of wind, that is a classic recipe for us to see a little bit worse air quality. Per the Valley Air District, tomorrow's air quality jumps into the unhealthy for sensitive group range. I will point out, though, that is the very lowest end of that range, so most of our day tomorrow we shouldn't have too bad of air quality. It just may get a little bit worse as we get into the afternoon and those temperatures really start to climb. And again, we're going to be stuck with those warmer temperatures for Thursday as well. Wednesday and Thursday about 97, both those days here in the Valley. But cooler weather not far behind. A really nice cool down here and a well-timed cool down. Here's what we're tracking for Friday. Cooler air mass settling right back into Northern California. Could see a little bit of rain in Northern California from that. We're not going to get the rain, but our temperatures are really going to be dropping as we head into Father's Day weekend. 81 for Saturday, 83 on Sunday. That's also Juneteenth. So lots of activities, lots of people trying to get outside this weekend, and it's going to be a beautiful weekend to do so. Does look like temperatures do get back on track to warm up as we head into early next week. But a really nice break from the heat here, and that's been the case all across Kern County. Temperatures on the warm side for sure Wednesday, Thursday, mid-90s for the Kern River Valley, mid to upper 80s for Tehachapi and Fraser Park. The winds pick up a bit Friday and Saturday, but those temperatures really cooling down as we head into the weekend.
I'm Joe St. George in San Francisco. A lot of Americans want to go to an open house. They want to make a purchase and own a home, but real estate has gotten crazy in a lot of parts of the country. We look at the plans from President Biden and Congress to make housing more affordable. Coming up.
And welcome back. It's something we've been covering for a while now, that being the high cost of housing. Since most people can't afford to buy a house, they're renting, and that's driving up costs as well. While a number of state measures have been introduced, reporter Joe St. George shows us what Washington is doing at the federal level to help.
This country has two very different housing problems on our hands. On one hand, there's a homelessness crisis, more Americans sleeping on the street in need of just something over their head. And then there's the issue with affordable housing and just being able to own a property you can call your own.
We are in a super central, vibrant neighborhood.
For perspective, we wanted to chat with realtor Trista Bernasconi. She works in real estate in arguably one of the most expensive places in the country, San Francisco.
We're on the top floor.
We aren't here to do a real estate reality TV show, but we are here to see what you get for your money these days in some American cities. How much is this being listed for?
This listing is just under 1.1 million.
Wait. You said 1.1 million?
Just under.
Trista tells me this is actually a bargain. It's 3 bedrooms with plenty of original features. $1 million gets you this?
You'd be lucky. Yes.
Expensive real estate has been an issue in this city for years, but what's different now nationwide is that other parts of the country are feeling the high prices too. Just look at the percentage hike in home prices since last year. The prices, coupled with an increase in interest rates, may have you asking, how can someone buy a home? Trista provides some advice.
Fully understand the market.
That understanding includes knowing what government programs are out there, including what income levels qualify for affordable housing in your community. You may be surprised. Every city is different. In San Francisco, if you make $90,000 a year, there's a chance you could get access to some affordable housing.
Absolutely.
Creating more affordable housing is part of a new push by the White House. The latest plan uses existing funding to encourage cities to change zoning laws so more affordable housing is required to be built. The White House also announced plans to improve financing for builders and incentivize the construction of more tiny homes or modular units.
This is not rocket science.
The tiny home idea makes a lot of sense to Alex Turk. He has worked on housing policy for years and recently launched MyOwnLockandKey.org, a nonprofit to help build more tiny homes in cities like San Francisco. An affordable housing condo could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to build, he says. Tiny homes are a fraction of the cost.
The reality is, with this modular, innovative technology, we could build units for $15,000 a pop, $20,000 a pop.
In San Francisco, I'm Joe St. George.
And coming up, we'll take one final look at your forecast when 23 ABC News at 5 returns.
Welcome back. Another look at your forecast shows warmer weather as we head through the next 48 hours. Already by about midday tomorrow, lunchtime, we're going to be about as warm as we were today. We'll keep climbing from there, of course, close to, but here in the valley, I don't think we break into the triple digits. Eastern Kern definitely could and has an even better chance to do so on Thursday. But our temperatures again here in Bakersfield, I think, are below 100, which we'll take that. That's a small victory, but the big victory comes towards the end of the forecast here into the weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, beautiful temperatures in time for Father's Day weekend and Juneteenth. Very comfortable, probably one of the most comfortable weekends we'll see for quite some time. So hopefully everyone has a chance to enjoy it.
Right, some good news there in the forecast. Thanks, Brandon. That's all the time we have tonight at 5. Of course, we're back at 6 with the latest news and weather. We'll see you then.